Welcome everyone to the Multipeak Marketing Podcast. Today's special guest is the founder of Dentagrafix, owner of Sachs Orthodontics, and was actually rated one of the nation's top orthodontists. Please welcome Dr. Eric Sachs.
Thank you, Tyler.
Awesome. So tell us a little bit about how you got into orthodontics and how Dentagrafix came about.
So getting into the field of orthodontics, my next door neighbor growing up was an orthodontist, and I was just a great, amazing guy. I always looked up to him. My dad was a physician, and I thought maybe I would go that route, but medicine was just a little bit too intense for me. I didn't want to be kind of like in a hospital type setting, and so I found dentistry and then ultimately orthodontics, and haven't looked back since. I love it. I couldn't imagine doing anything else.
Awesome.
With respect to Dentagrafix, it's a great question. As most people know, more and more care is being rendered with clear aligners, whether it's Invisalign or some of the other alternatives to Invisalign, Spark, and whatever else is out there. There's a lot of them coming through down the pike. But they're all variations of basically the same thing, which is clear plastic. This one's plastic is clearer than the next one's, and this one's is more durable. And it's all kind of variations of the same exact thing. There's really no differentiation between them on a broad scale. So I just thought that it would be interesting to somehow distinguish one clear plastic from another by introducing some colors, some patterns, some logos, and some designs, and to keep orthodontics fun, interesting, and exciting. And so that's kind of where the concept came about. And there really wasn't anything like it on the market. You could get traditional like Hawley type retainers and things with colors and designs, but with clear aligners and clear retainers, there really didn't exist that option to personalize it. And so that's where the idea came from. As we know, kids love picking colors for their braces and doing all sorts of fun stuff. And now they can do the same thing with their clear retainers, clear aligners, and other clear appliances. Right
on. So how long have you been practicing, and how long has Dentagrafix been around?
I've been practicing since 2006, so about 15 years. That's when I graduated. I went to UMDNJ, now known as Rutgers School of Dental Medicine here in New Jersey, for dental school. Then I did my orthodontic residency at Montefiore Hospital in the Bronx. Graduated in 2006, had a variety of associateship positions, which was great learning experience. Learned some good stuff, learned some not so good stuff. And one guy in particular I worked for 5 years, who's just a really amazing clinician, really amazing person, practice owner. And he was my mentor for a good 5 years, gave me the confidence to kind of open up on my own and do my own thing. The timing just wasn't right for him in terms of transitioning his practice, so I had to kind of go my own way. But we still remain in touch, and that's kind of how my practice was born. I started from scratch in late 2008, early 2009.
Wow. Okay.
With no patients. I had multiple associate jobs. The only day that I had available to work in my own practice was Sunday. So I was actually working 7 days a week. I did that for years. And then just slowly, as I built my practice, I started scaling back the associate positions, and then ultimately, I just was on my own. And it's been great, great specialty, great field. Love my colleagues, love the people I treat, love my community. It's just been very fulfilling, very rewarding, and I love it.
Awesome, that's great. So, like, what brought you to the New Jersey location, like where you're specifically at right there?
Yeah, just born and raised. I grew up in New Jersey, about an hour and a half ish from where I practice now. My wife's from this area, and then you know how that goes.
Yeah.
So I kind of migrated toward this area. I live and work in the same town, which some people might not love, but I actually like it. You really kind of immerse in the community, and it's a good feeling, and a good commute too.
Yeah. So how big is the area right there where you live?
I'm not great with numbers in terms of population and all that sort of stuff, but New Jersey is the most densely populated state in the country. There's no shortage of people, no shortage of orthodontists. Yeah, I mean, it's a well populated, really nice area, very diverse community, which is great.
Right.
It's still the suburbs, close enough to kind of Manhattan and some other cool stuff. So it's a good spot.
Cool. So you mentioned like you started from scratch.
Yes.
How big are you now, like with your teams and everything?
I think I have like 13 or so team members.
Nice.
I'm more or less a one office kind of guy. I don't have multiple offices. I just brought on my first associate, Dr. Zing Zhu, who's been really just a wonderful addition to the practice. He's been with me about a year now. And he's been great. And yeah, just one office, one owner doc, one associate doc, who hopefully one day will partner in or join us, from an equity standpoint. But we'll see what happens. But so far, so good.
Cool. That's awesome. And you only have one location?
Yes, I have another office that's a multi-specialty office. So my primary office is just an orthodontic specialty practice. I work out of another office about 10 minutes away, but even in New Jersey, 10 minutes away, 15 minutes away, it's actually a big deal. It's a whole different county.
Yeah.
And so I do work out of that office a little bit as well. That's in Summit, New Jersey.
Right. So what's your culture like in the practice?
Try to keep it light, try to keep it fun. I'm all about clinical excellence, patient experience, take what I do really seriously, even though, as I kind of alluded to earlier, like I didn't want to be in a hospital or deal with anything too heavy. Doesn't mean that I don't take what I do seriously. I take it very seriously. I try to do the best that I can do for each and every patient, treat each and every patient like they're my own, family member. But at the same time, trying to keep it light, trying to keep it fun. And yeah, that's also part of where Dentagrafix came from. Just kind of another tool to keep the patient experience light, enjoyable, personal.
Right. So switching gears real quick, let's talk a little bit about marketing. What have you been doing with marketing? What's been your bread and butter for that stuff?
I mean, I do the same stuff that every other practitioner does. I mean, you have to kind of fire on all cylinders. But the biggest thing that I've been doing as of late is actually with Dentagrafix, which can create a real buzz in the community. I mean, first of all, it's relatively new, so not that many people offer it yet, but we're growing. We have doctors purchasing from throughout the country. There's actually a lot of international interest. We have several big distributors, several labs that are now starting to sell. But in my particular area, I'm pretty much the only one that's offering it at this time. So if somebody wants a New York Knicks retainer or Brooklyn Nets retainer or Yankees or something kind of cool, they can only get it from me. And believe it or not, people talk about it. A kid will show his friend, and his friend will say, "Where did you get that?" Then they say, "Oh, I got it at Saks." And then they're like, "That's so cool." And then, one retainer can turn into a couple of new patients, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome. So do you got like a QR code under there? So like they can just like, oh yeah, scan it and you're with Dr. Eric.
Oh, QR code on the retainer. Well, that's a good idea. I like that. Something to think about. Yeah, but no.
Yeah. I was just kind of thinking about that. I don't know. I just thought that'd be funny. Like, oh, like who can I contact? It's like, oh, here's a QR code under here.
Well, to that point, I could show you. I have some examples here, some discs. We do custom logos as well. So I have two custom logos here that we did. This is one for actually a dental lab. I don't know if you can see it. It's kind of hard to see it.
Oh,
but
yeah.
This is a custom logo we did for Pashka Dental Lab. We designed that for them. This is actually Summit Dental Partners. This is a custom logo. So it's a little hard to see. But essentially, these appliances remain clear in the front. So, when the patient's smiling or what have you, it still looks pretty clear and inconspicuous. But then you have the cool pattern design on the back, which is a lot of fun. It's a great way to differentiate the practice. You can actually brand the practice by doing your own custom logo.
Right.
They're less likely to be lost, which parents like, more likely to be worn potentially if patients are engaged, if they're like Celtics fans and stuff like that. And so we've actually done a bunch of focus groups, and the feedback from parents, they're pretty into it, believe it or not, in addition to the kids. Not that I charge more for it, but one could. And they said they'd be willing in these focus groups that they'd be willing to pay more actually for a Dentagrafix appliance than a clear appliance, possibly less likely to lose it for sure, possibly more likely to wear it. And so those are some other differentiators that I'm doing in terms of marketing and some cool things that Dentagrafix can offer. Yeah.
So why should practices be using this product for Dentagrafix?
Well, I think two primary reasons. Number one, practice differentiation. I mean, I think it's just, in today's day and age, when you're talking about marketing, you're trying to basically distinguish yourself, differentiate yourself in one way, shape, or form from somebody else. And so that's one big reason to consider using it. I think the second reason, and this is in no particular order, just reasons for incorporating it, is it's fun. We could all see how almost every kid in my practice wants colors, adults too. I mean, obviously there are some that they don't want colors and they want the least conspicuous thing possible, but it's kind of fun to be involved, personalize the experience, personalize your appliance. And now with clear retainers that, I mean, back in the day, and I still use a lot of Holy retainers, by the way, in my practice, but you can design these cool, fun retainers, but more and more retainers are being made like this than they are like this. And so prior to Dentagrafix, you didn't have the ability to make it pop, have a little fun, support your favorite sports team. You just didn't have those options, but now you do. And so similarly to how when colors first came out, people said, well, who's going to put colors on their teeth and who's going to do this? And now it's widely accepted in mainstream. I think it's the same thing is happening with clear appliances.
Right.
They don't have they can still be clear and but not be boring and not be ordinary.
Right. So this is unique. It gives the kids
very, very unique. It's unique, which is good from a differentiation standpoint. It's fun, which is just great for the patient experience and your practice culture. And then from a clinical point of view, it's highly effective in retaining the teeth. And potentially it's less likely to get lost and potentially more likely to be worn. So it's kind of a win-win on all fronts.
Right. It's awesome. So like, how are these things made? Are they like printed or?
So we have a patented manufacturing process. So it's complicated. It took me several years to figure out how to do this. The process is actually still continually evolving. We're about 99.99% there. But even as of a few months ago, we made some changes to the process and to the plastic just to make it that much better. So it's a complicated, intricate process that took me years to figure out how to do. So I guess the idea started maybe 2.5 years ago. And we're kind of just really fully launching. We were about to launch and then COVID hit and there was a shutdown. But now that things are kind of getting back to a little bit of normal, we're kind of doing our official launch. The designs are integrated into the plastic. It's not stuck on like Invisalign stickables. You don't have to take them off and stick them on, and they're not going to peel off or wear off. We've done all sorts of biocompatibility testing. This stuff is all FDA compliant. It's safe. We've done a lot of biological testing, and so it's really cool stuff. Not going to wear off. It's safe, and it's incorporated into the plastic, which was a complicated process to develop, but we were able to do it. Yeah.
So like you could put football teams, just anything on there, right? Like what kind of things can you do?
Like here's just some examples. We have at the moment we have official licensing agreements with the National Basketball Association and Major League Baseball, with another big kind of non-athletic one potentially coming down the pike. So this is like New York Knicks. We have, I don't know how well you could see it. You can visit our website also, dentagrafix.com. That's with an F, F-I-X, Dentagrafix, F-I-X. Boston Celtics, Boston Red Sox. I don't know if you can see that. Brooklyn Nets.
So you got all of them.
New York Yankees. I only took out a couple to show you. Los Angeles Dodgers. So we have most NBA teams, most MLB teams, with some other cool licensing deals in the works. As I mentioned earlier, we can do custom logos, practice logos, and then we have our own proprietary little designs. We have a flip menu that you can be chair side. So when it's time for the patient to pick their retainer, just like you say, what color do you want? You show them the little palette. You say, what pattern do you want for your retainer? And here's blue. These are the ones that I currently offer in my office. And by the way, I just want to make mention, I outsource everything. I don't do a lot of lab work in my office. I'll occasionally make like a replacement Essex for somebody, but I really pretty much outsource 99% of my lab work to labs. And there are several labs that offer this, so that if you don't want to purchase or stock inventory on your own, or you don't want to deal with making these on your own, Inman Lab carries our product. Partners Dental Lab in Minnesota carries our product. ODL carries our product, and several others. Great Lake sells our product. And so what patients can see here is that it's clear in the front and decorated in the back.
Right.
And so there's other patterns. We have, rainbows and hearts and stars and all sorts of fun stuff for kids to pick. But the ones that I offer are most popular, which tend to be the camos, the sports ones, hearts, rainbows,
Right.
things like that.
That's awesome. And so they just have a huge selection they can just pick out of. Very
Yes.
convenient.
Yes.
That's awesome. So how did you come up with all this stuff while working a ton? You mentioned you were working like seven days a week, and
well, I don't work 7 days a week anymore. I kind of do, but I used to in my earlier years when I was first starting off. I work about 4 clinical days a week. And it's just like anything else. A lot of my colleagues do the same thing. It's a grind, but it's all about balance. Got to try to be a good orthodontist, be a good dad, be a good husband, son, brother, all that kind of stuff.
yeah,
Good entrepreneur. So just keeps life interesting. Got to keep moving.
right. So do the Dentagrafix, do they have like a set price, or is it like very custom to the practice? Or
there is set pricing on our website. And I will say this about pricing: it's a premium product. I mean, you can get a plain sheet of plastic for $1, $2. You can get some of the higher end all clear plastics for maybe $5 a sheet. We're more than that. There's a lot that goes into this. There's colors, there's patterns, there's designs, there's pigments. There's a lot of R&D that goes into this that unfortunately have our costs pretty high. So we're working very, very diligently to try to bring the cost down. It's never going to be as inexpensive as an all clear appliance. This is a premium product. If you're worried about, pinching every penny in terms of overhead and squeezing every penny out of every case, this probably isn't the product for you. But if you try to give the best for your patients, like, for example, just as an example, you can buy brackets from, some unknown source on eBay, or you can buy, brackets from 3M Unitech or Damon braces that are, 3, 4, 5 times the amount of money. I think practitioners that purchase those types of goods and services will appreciate this product. But if cost is a huge concern, this might not be the product for you, because it is more expensive than all clear. However, fortunately, the margins in orthodontics are still healthy. And so if don't quote me exactly on the cost per sheet, but if the sheet is $10 versus $2, so now you've spent an extra $8 per sheet. Your margins on that retainer, let's say you sell the average replacement retainer Essex is somewhere around $150 to $200. So the extra $8 that you spent on the piece of plastic, in my view, is somewhat negligible, particularly when you're now giving a patient something that's cool, fun, exciting, less likely to be lost, more likely to be worn, differentiates your practice, may help you get new patients. I mean, to me, it's a no-brainer. We as orthodontists spend so much money on so many other things that don't nearly return quite as much. So to me, I still see it as a relative bargain. But with respect to pricing, there is general pricing. Obviously, there's volume discounts and so forth. But I do want to let it be known that we're trying to get our manufacturing costs down significantly, not so we can line our pockets anymore, but so that we can directly pass that savings along to our customers, because the interest has been overwhelming. People love this thing, and they think it's awesome and they want to do it. They are a little bit gun shy about spending 3-4 times as much money for a sheet of plastic versus an all clear plastic, despite all the benefits that I just mentioned. So hopefully, and I must also say, this is a self-funded early stage startup. There's no private equity money behind us yet or anything like that. So we're working very diligently to do the best we can on a limited budget. And unfortunately, it's just expensive to manufacture safely. It's all, right, as I mentioned, FDA compliant, made in the United States. You don't have to be worried about it or anything like that. And it's very, very high quality plastic that's going to hold up well over time. Won't crack, won't break. And we guarantee it for a year, maybe even longer. So we're trying to get our manufacturing costs down so we can pass that savings onto our customers and hopefully gain more market share that way, because that's been the biggest pushback is cost. But we're working on it. Yeah,
that sounds awesome. But definitely a great investment for all practices to really get their brand. I hear all the time, branding is one of the biggest things, giving patients a t-shirt with their logo on it, this and that. And, this sounds like, it combines branding and their treatment together to make.
Absolutely. I mean, we spend so much money on swag from, keychains and water bottles and pop sockets and whatever the latest, crazy thing is. Often, kids may get excited, lip balm and all this kind of stuff, but why not brand your actual appliance? How cool is that your retainer can say, Sax Orthodontics or New York Knicks or, whatever it is. It's just another way to brand yourself, keep that imagery in front of your patients and keep you top of mind.
Right. And not only do the kids stand out from this, but also practices are standing out from this too, because no one else is really doing this.
Absolutely. Yeah. I mean, we're in some discussions with some bigger offices in more populated areas that are looking for exclusivity, like, to be the only one that can offer Los Angeles Lakers or, and so we're not there yet. We kind of want to get this out to as many people as possible, but from a differentiation standpoint, there is some talk about certain practices or certain businesses, getting exclusivity on certain teams or certain logos. And so that if that's the desired logo for a certain area, that only X number of people can get it. But I don't love playing that game. I mean, that game has been done before, in the market, and I don't love it. But people have asked about that. So at the moment, because it's still, early, it's still a very, very good way to differentiate your practice for sure.
Right. And I've never heard of this before. Like, obviously braces, you get your own colored braces and that, but you've never actually been able to see Invisaligns, like the plastic. You've never actually been able to see your favorite sports team on there. I just think that's the coolest thing.
Yeah, absolutely. And so actually Invisalign, as I mentioned earlier, launched this thing called Stickables. Which are these little decal sticker things that you can put on the trays. They're really small. Either the kid or the doctor or a parent or somebody has to stick them on there. And it's just not the same as what we're able to offer.
Right.
Believe it or not, I think our product existed before theirs. So I don't know if theirs was in a response to us or in just a response to the demand. But I think with the launch of Stickables from Invisalign, from a multi-billion-dollar company, and I'm a huge Invisalign provider, by the way.
Yeah,
there's a lot of people that don't like Invisalign, but I'm a big fan of Invisalign, and so I respect what they're doing, certainly from a business point of view. Obviously, there's other great aligner companies out there as well, but I just happen to be kind of brand loyal to Invisalign, and I just think the introduction of their Stickables speaks to the void in the marketplace of such things and the desire to fill that void, and give patients and parents and younger kids what they want, which is color, some excitement, some personalization. I mean, if you think about even the way we dress, I mean, you don't see everybody walking around in, plain white t-shirts all the time, right? They're wearing designers, designer this, designer that, this pattern, that pattern, their favorite, vacation destination, or it's all sorts of designs, decorations. Everybody's not wearing plain white, canvas sneakers. They're wearing LeBrons, or they're wearing Jordans, or whatever the case may be, and the same thing goes. Why should your, retainers or clear aligners be any different? Have a little fun, express yourself, differentiate yourself, be fashionable. Don't be ordinary,
And like you said from the beginning, the kids, they're going to be asking like, oh, where did you get those? Because they've never seen those before. I want those.
Yeah, that's kind of the whole point. That's kind of what I try to tell people. But there's lots of different practice philosophies, and I respect them all. My philosophy has never been about kind of getting every single penny out of every single case. My philosophy has been about creating a great patient experience. So even something like this, a Holy retainer, I mean, labs charge a lot of money because there's a lot of labor that goes into making something like this. They charge a lot of money for this. I don't charge my patients extra for this. If a kid gets a totally plain one, or if they get this cool tie-dye one, this tie-dye one probably cost me another $30-40, which this is peanuts compared to this. I mean, this you're talking, maybe $6, $7, $8 differential between plain and something cool and decorated. This, you're talking 20, 30, 40, $50 differential. But my point is this, I absorb it. I don't particularly care that this costs me $20, $30 more than the plain one. I want that kid picking whatever he or she wants. I want them fired up about it. I don't want there to have to be a conversation about money over it.
Yeah.
You get what you want in my office, more or less, that's the goal. Happy patients, happy parents. And so that's kind of the goal with Dentagrafix. Give them what they want. And I don't necessarily worry about, every single penny from every single case. Yes, it's a little bit more expensive than clear plain, but I think the upside is way bigger, particularly if you're getting patient leads from it. I mean, you get one new patient because you offer Dentagrafix, and you can do, Brooklyn Nets retainers, and you get one patient, one case that you get anywhere from, $4,000 to $6,000, $7,000 from. That's a lot of plastic you could buy, from one patient. So you kind of have to see the bigger picture and not get too fixated on the $6-7 premium on the plastic.
Think macro, not micro.
I think so. That's just been my philosophy. But like I said, there's many ways to do this, and my way is certainly not the only way. But that's my practice philosophy.
Awesome. Well, is there any other awesome things you want to share about Dentagrafix before we wrap things up?
No, I mean, just have a great team behind us. A lot of great interest. I want to thank everybody for the interest and for the support. The support means a lot from the orthodontic community. We kind of definitely need to stick together. And so the support is very much appreciated. Definitely trying to get the cost down for you guys. Believe it or not, even in our prices, our margins are very, very, very modest. This is like not a huge money maker for us with the current margins. But as we scale, we're hoping to drive costs down.
Right.
Consequently, have pricing come down. But even at its current pricing, for me, I mean, by the way, I'm a customer. It's family and friend investors, but I don't get free plastic. I pay for it. And even at its current pricing, I see the value personally. Now, yes, I have an interest in the company, but just from as a practice owner, I mean, all of my clear appliances, I got them here. These are all from Inman. I just send them out. Kids pick the pattern, and then Inman sends me, nice models, the appliance on it, and it's great. So in my practice, everybody's getting Dentagrafix. If I'm using a Hawley, they can pick whatever cool color design they want. If they happen to just want all clear, that's cool too. I mean, you get what you want. There's no hard sell. I just want people happy, excited, and I obviously want to use quality products for my patients, and I feel really good about Dentagrafix. But I just, we have a great team behind us, great profession behind us, and just want to thank everybody.
That's awesome. So all about the patient experience, and this is a great marketing tool as well too.
It's always about the patient. I mean, if you do right by that patient, you're not going to have to worry too much about marketing or doing this or doing that. I mean, you want to do great treatment. You want to treat people really, really well. Give people what they want. Be fair. Be fun, and you can't help but win.
Oh yeah. Well, that's so cool. Well, thank you so much, Eric, for coming on and sharing some awesome stuff with our listeners. Guys, please make sure to check out Dentagrafix and see all the awesome things that they got going on. You can find them on social media. Check out the website at dentagrafix.com. That's with an F and an X. And go ahead and message us on social media if you have any questions. And other than that, thank you everyone for listening, and have a blessed day.
Thank you, Tyler.
Awesome. All right. Well, I think we end it there. Dude, awesome. I didn't realize how awesome Dentagrafix was. That's so cool.